The note was taped to my suitcase, fluttering in the breeze as if it had always belonged there. "You are not welcome here." I recognized my sister's handwriting instantly, hard, neat, and cold. I stood outside the backyard gate in my work heels, one suitcase at my feet and another lying on the dry grass. I'd just returned from a 14-hour flight after spending 2 months overseas managing projects. This was my homecoming. The living room lights glowed behind the curtains. Laughter drifted outside. They knew I was there. No one opened the door. No one called. No one even texted. For several minutes, I simply stared at the house where I'd spent my childhood. Then something inside me finally broke. Not loudly, but quietly. I picked up my luggage, turned around and walked back to my car. None of them knew about the one-bedroom apartment I'd purchased on the edge of the city. I'd paid cash years earlier under another legal name. It had always been my emergency escape, though I never imagined I'd need it because of my own family. My name is Elena Brooks, and my family's betrayal didn't begin that afternoon. It had started years earlier. The apartment was cold, empty, and untouched. Dust covered the windowsills. I unpacked without turning on the television, then sat at the tiny kitchen table with my phone in front of me. Nothing. No missed calls, no apologies, no explanation. Their silence answered every question I had. I opened a folder on my encrypted laptop labelled Someday. Inside were 6 years of records, every bank transfer, every loan payment, every receipt, every mortgage contribution, every dollar I'd quietly spent helping my parents and younger sister survive. When Dad lost his business, I stepped in. When Mom wanted expensive renovations, I paid. When my sister Vanessa buried herself in debt, I cleared the balances without asking for recognition. They always called me the dependable one, the responsible daughter, the family problem solver. Apparently, I was only valuable while my bank account remained open. I reached into a drawer and removed a prepaid phone I only carried during international business trips. My relatives had never known the number. I dialed one contact. "Dylan," his voice answered immediately. "I wondered when you'd call." "I'm ready," I said calmly. "Tell your investors the answer is yes." A quiet laugh came through the speaker. "Took you long enough, Elena." I didn't laugh, because unlike him, I already knew exactly how this story would end. 2 mornings later, Dylan arrived in a matte black SUV exactly at 8 o'clock. He handed me a cup of coffee, loaded my bags into the back and nodded toward the driver. "Our attorney is waiting downtown." The ride was almost silent. As skyscrapers slid past the windows, my thoughts kept returning to the note taped to my suitcase. My sister had believed she was throwing away someone with nowhere to go. She couldn't have been more wrong. For the past 2 years, I'd secretly worked as a senior acquisitions consultant for a private real estate investment firm. My specialty was distressed properties, unpaid loans, and undervalued land. Quietly, I'd built my own portfolio through shell companies and carefully structured LLCs. Even my family accountant couldn't have connected those businesses back to me. This wasn't revenge born from anger. It was preparation born from experience. Dylan finally broke the silence. "Your parents refinanced their property last spring, parcel 14B. I nodded. "The balloon payment is overdue." He slid a folder across the seat. "We purchased the debt yesterday." I opened it carefully. Every signature, every payment history, every legal transfer. Perfect. For the first time in days, I smiled, though there wasn't an ounce of warmth behind it. "My family taught me many lessons," I said quietly. How to lie without blinking. How to disappear when convenient. How to treat loyalty like a transaction. Dylan glanced at me. "And now?" "Now they'll learn one from me." From that day forward, I vanished completely. No birthday calls, no holiday visits, no replies to messages that never came. I became invisible. Meanwhile, Vanessa happily posted photos from my old bedroom as if she'd always owned it. Mom filled social media with dramatic posts about her ungrateful daughter who had abandoned the family. Dad never mentioned my name again. To them, I no longer existed. While they chased attention online, I attended meetings with surveyors, engineers, inspectors, and financial advisors. Every conversation was documented, every report followed the law. Then the inspections uncovered serious structural issues beneath the aging foundation. Insurance providers ordered a reassessment. The bank intensified its collection efforts. Dad dismissed every warning. "It's just paperwork," he told everyone. He never realised I was sitting 2 floors above his loan. officer during one of those meetings, quietly watching the process unfold. 14 days later, a final payment notice appeared on their front gate. That same afternoon, Vanessa uploaded another angry post. Fake people always betray family. I looked at the screen for a long moment before closing the app. Then I confirmed one final appointment, Tuesday, 10 a.m. The knock on their door wouldn't come from me. At exactly 10 o'clock Tuesday morning, someone knocked on my parents' front door. It wasn't me, it was the city marshal, accompanied by 2 officers, a building inspector, a bank representative, and an attorney carrying a bright orange envelope. Dad answered in his pajamas. Mom appeared behind him, already demanding to know what was happening. The attorney calmly explained that the property had been cited for serious safety violations, the insurance coverage had lapsed, and the overdue loan had entered legal enforcement. The bank was exercising its rights under the mortgage agreement. Within half an hour, they were instructed to leave the house while the inspection proceeded. Vanessa stood barefoot on the lawn, clutching her phone. "Who did this?" she cried. "Who would do this to us?" A black sedan pulled into the driveway. I stepped out wearing a tailored navy suit, carrying nothing more dramatic than an iced coffee. 3 stunned faces turned toward me. Dad looked as though he'd seen a ghost. "Elena," I offered a polite nod. "Nothing personal," I said evenly. "Just business." The attorney beside me continued. "The current owner has requested an immediate inspection." I walked through the front door of my childhood home without asking permission for the first time in my life. Inside, neglect greeted me everywhere. Peeling paint, stained carpets, stacks of unpaid utility notices. Dust covered the bookshelf I'd bought with my first paycheck years ago. My old bedroom had become Vanessa's dressing room, scattered with makeup and shopping bags. She followed me through the hallway. "You think owning this house makes you better than us?" I turned calmly. "No, your choices made this possible." In the dining room, I placed a thick folder on the table. Every receipt, every transfer, every contract documenting the money I'd invested in their business and home over 6 years. The final document showed the ownership of the holding company that legally controlled the property. It now belonged to me. They had never bothered reading the paperwork they signed. They never imagined the daughter they dismissed would study corporate law, build her own business, and patiently reclaim everything she'd helped create. "I learned from the best," I said quietly. "You taught me how power works." By the following morning, the locks had been changed legally, and the remaining company assets were sold through documented agreements. Every account was settled down to the last dollar. Months later, my therapist asked me what justice felt like. I smiled before answering. "It isn't about taking something back. It's about finally belonging to myself." The note on my suitcase had said I wasn't needed there. Looking back, it wasn't a rejection. It was permission to build a life where no one else could decide whether I belonged.